So this goes way back. I'm going to do like a little interview with them. Do you guys remember at camp, way back at Camp McCullough, when we would do questions with CJ at the very beginning of camp, and I would have all the students come up one at a time, and I would ask them like 3 random questions, just so that everybody would get to know them, so the youth group could kind of start meshing a little bit. So there's a question that is not on the questions we sent you that I'm going to ask you now. I have already warned these two. It's a surprise to you. I won't make you go first. These two over here thought I was going to say something about putting a stick in the fire and what it represented to them. And if you've been to a camp, but that's not the question, actually. My question is, if you could have a superpower, what would it be? And why? And Laina, you actually have the microphone to your side there that you guys are all going to share. So if you would be the one to start, so think about that for just a hot minute, and then let me know.
I would say teleportation. Like, who wouldn't want? Yeah. I mean, I could be in Hawaii right now if I wanted.
I like that answer. So, that's a good answer.
I would go shape-shifting because really, you can do anything. You can breathe underwater, turn into a fish real quick. You can fly if you turn into a bird. You can, if you want to be invisible, turn into a chameleon. You can do just about anything.
Oh, that's so smart. I hadn't even thought about that.
I'm going with teleportation as well. She stole my idea. Yeah. Free flights.
Free flight, okay. Well, and if you were asking me, I think I would pick flying because speed and just that sensation of movement, I think that would be awesome. So, all right. We're going to start with a significant Bible verse for you. So if we could have the first one up on the screen. James 1:2-3. I believe that's you, my friend Lola. So if you could tell us a little bit about this. Actually, why don't I read it for you? So, consider it pure joy, my brothers and sisters, whenever you face trials of many kinds, because you know that the testing of your faith produces perseverance. So Lola, will you tell us why you chose that verse and what it means to you?
I mean, I feel like this verse is just very relevant to my life. You know, I've definitely had testing of my faith. And I just feel like it's such a good reminder for me to know that, God just doesn't send all this crap at you for, no reason, you know? There's always a purpose at hand. And it's just such a good reminder for me to know that. So, yeah.
All right. And the next one is Exodus 33:14. And it's the Lord replied, my presence will go with you, and I will give you rest.
Yeah, so I picked this one. I've been at New Day my whole life. And I think on a small scale, it's really easy to throughout the week kind of forget about God or the things he's doing in your life. And then you remember once you're at Sunday, and then the cycle can start over again. And I think for me, this one is relevant because God doesn't just exist at New Day when I'm sitting at church or singing worship or something like that. He's going to be in Arizona with me, and he's also literally anywhere. It's on a large scale, it's on a small scale. So that part is really meaningful to me there. And then also just I will give you rest. It's self-explanatory. We all need it. And yeah, he'll always be there for you.
All right, and then next one is Psalm 28:7. The Lord is my strength and my shield. My heart trusts in him, and he helps me. My heart leaps for joy, and with my song I praise him.
So the Lord is my strength and my shield. It just reminds me that, I can always just hide behind him, and, he always has my back. Sorry, I'm trying to read. I'm blind.
That's okay.
My heart trusts in him. It just reminds me to always, he's my rock. He's number one. So to just always trust in him and have my faith in him. He always helps me. That's self-explanatory. And then my heart leaps for joy, and with my song I praise him. My heart leaps for joy because, when you feel God, you're full of joy. So.
And I don't even know if I said this is Laina Henderson, Lola Diffner, and Justin Sanner, in case I missed that. I think I might have. I called you up, but then I didn't tell people who you are. All right. Since you have the mic, I'm going to let you go next. All right. Any advice you would give your younger self if you were starting over in high school again? It's all good. These are your people. Just look at me, you know?
Okay.
Yeah. So, Justin, what advice would you give your younger self if you were starting high school again, do you think?
Trust in God. He's always there. Be careful who you pick as friends, you know, keep your circle close, and yeah.
Okay, good. My friend Lola?
I would say to my younger self, say yes more and just get involved as much as you can, just in your school and community. Like the past 2 years, I was able to do worship at my school and take like mentorship classes and like theater and just all the stuff that I never thought I would do because that really like scared me. And I was like, you know, I'm gonna do it these years. And I've had so much fun. I've made so many friends and like also just connections with teachers. That's so important. And like I've just had so many like life-giving relationships the past few years. And that's just because I said yes more. And I was like, I'm gonna get involved. And I'm so glad that I did. So that's what I would tell myself.
I would say, like Lola was just saying, invest in life-giving relationships that are in your life. It's like friends, it's God, it's like I got a lot closer with my sister, and that was all throughout COVID, and I'm really regret not investing in those relationships sooner. So I think definitely just like being aware of what gives you life and to take account of that.
Yeah, so be brave and have faith, step out in faith a little bit. All right, so speaking of faith, how did you cultivate your faith in high school?
So, I mean, youth group was a big one, obviously. Being able to grow up with like a group of kids and know that we were all going through the same thing a lot of times was super important for me. And then also to be able to lead worship, that was super meaningful for me. I think for a long time, leading worship for me wasn't leading for other people, but it was like trying to convince myself that I believed a lot of these things. And I think that was a really like unhealthy space for me. And I think once I made the mental switch from like trying to convince myself that I believe these things to like knowing that I did and just trying to like spread that joy that I felt because of it, like a lot changed for me. And I grew a lot in my faith and then like in turn in my relationships with the people around me. And like I've struggled a lot with a lot of mental health, and it's been a lot easier to go through it with God than to go through it by myself.
For me, I would also say worship at here, and then also I get to do worship at my school because I go to a Christian school. And that's been really neat for me just to be able to lead my peers in that way. Because I used to, you know, sit in the crowd, like watching worship, like just being up there, like I feel like we all just, you know, just get in this moment. And it's just really special. And that's really helped me grow my faith. And also just being able to take Bible classes at my school. Like I know not everyone gets the opportunity. And that's been really good for me this year because we've had just these super good, like deep conversations. And then also me and Laina meet with Karin like every other week. And that has been so good for me. And I'm so thankful. So thank you, Karin.
Yeah, I can read it again. How did you cultivate your faith in high school?
Youth group, you and Kevin. Yeah, you guys really pushed me in getting baptized. That was big as well. And you know, when we go to J Crew on the weekly basis, we make all these connections, and then you guys push me, and I have people that push me closer to God, whether you know it's you or it's the people at J Crew. It's not just me having to go on this journey by myself. So
That. Thank you. Yeah. And it's true. I mean, I think we aren't in this faith alone. It is incredibly hard to do this life by yourself. So God, of course, super important, but people who put you or point you towards God and your faith and remind you who you are, that you're loved and you're known is important, I think, in high school for sure, because it's such a mess sometimes of emotions and all the things. And the last 2 years have really incredibly been that for our students. So, yeah. All right. So, what has God been teaching you about your relationship with Him?
okay.
Oh, you might.
I gotta end down there or something.
We plan so all the hard ones come to you.
I know, this is
first.
great.
That's
It's just
why,
bouncing back
sure,
and
no
forth.
problem.
You got to start one of these. What has God been teaching me? He's been teaching me to trust in him fully and, not to hold on and try to do everything by myself and be in control, because ultimately he's the only one in control of our lives. We're not in control of anything really. We're just kind of going with the flow. So to trust in him and just, let go of the reins and be like, okay, you got this. You take it from here. And
Yeah, for me, I would say God has been teaching me a lot about patience and just how my timing is not always his timing. And a lot of people know, like, middle school and high school for me, those years were a bit rough. A lot of stuff happened, and that just really hit hard. And I just wanted answers, like, why is this all happening? And it was just making me so mad. But I just had to realize it's not my timing. Like, God, he has a plan and he has a will. So, like, patience has been very important for me to learn. It's hard, but yeah.
I think there's a lot of people in this audience that can relate to that. Am I right? Yeah.
I think for me, it's easy to get frustrated with God or with yourself when things aren't happening on this timeline that you had set. Like, why am I still struggling with this? This happened years ago. Why is it not over yet? And I think, like Lola was saying, having patience with God and also realizing that God has patience for me. And I think realizing that it definitely switched a lot for me, because I was able to have more patience and grace for myself when I felt frustrated with how I was dealing with things or how my brain worked or all this stuff. And then once I had patience with myself and with God, I was able to take advantage of things that he put in my life and realize that, like, I wasn't alone in those things and that he put these things in my life for a reason and stuff like that.
I think one of the things that we try to say very frequently in youth group is it's okay to question God. It's okay to be frustrated and mad at God. He's big enough for all your emotions and all your questions. And I think that really kind of summed that up. Like, it's okay to be in that space. You won't be in it forever, but it's okay to be in that space. And he still loves you no matter what. You're his masterpiece, right? So, Lola, let's hand her the mic, shall we? What have you been learning about yourself?
I have been learning a lot about serving others. I love that. It's like helping others just brings me a lot of joy. I've learned that the past couple of years, like just doing worship and going on the mission trip with my school. I was able to go to Kentucky and serve some families over there for a week, and that brought me so much joy. And I just want to continue that as I go on to college. So just serving others above myself is something that I've been learning, and I really enjoy.
What have you been learning about yourself? You're welcome.
I've been learning to move on and let go of a lot of things, and again, trusting God, but trying to be more like go with the flow and let things happen. Because when you're holding on and trying to be in control, you're super anxious, and it's nice to just be able to just let go and just slow down. So I've been trying to work on that.
Well, and also I think a lot of us do that, right? Like, you hold on to something so tight, and then you're like, God, take this from me. Oh, I'm just going to take that back. So it's normal and it's natural, but you're right. Like, you have to kind of learn to go, okay, just the act of just always giving it back to God. That's where the growth comes in, I think, is like you recognize and you realize, like, I can't hold all of this. Like, there's a greater power that's in charge. So what have you been learning about yourself, Laina?
I think for me, I would say probably my whole life, I've told myself that my value is very dependent on people around me or things that I do right or wrong, like very perfect or failure. And I think after a lot of those, after I started to realize, wow, I'm never going to be perfect, and started losing a lot of relationships, and especially in COVID, things went downhill for me very fast. And I essentially, based on all these things I told myself my whole life, I had no value. And I think once I started kind of remembering that, like, my value is in God and God only. And also, like, I am valuable not because of something that I do for God or something that I do right or wrong, but literally just because I'm a child of God. It really, I've been saying it switched my mentality a lot, but there have been a lot of things in my life that, like, really just kind of like a switch, like, flipped in, like, COVID and stuff like that. And I learned that a lot more about myself and what I needed to do to take care of myself and how that looked for me.
All right, future plans, and how can we pray for you?
I'm going to GCU in the fall.
And what is GCU?
Oh, yeah, that's Grand Canyon University. I'm graduating high school with my associates in the arts, so I'll be going to Grand Canyon in Phoenix, I'm pretty sure, for 2 years. Yeah, fun fact, I've never even toured the campus. I applied to one school. I was like, sure, this works. And then just committed. So I don't know what it's like there. I've heard it's cool. I hope it is. So that'll be my next 2 years. So yeah, that's what that's going to look like. Well, I don't really know what it's going to look like, but we'll figure it out.
Leap of faith.
Oh, yeah. I've lived here my whole life. Everything, like, I've been with the same people for a lot of my life, so I'm super comfortable and very familiar with everything here. And it's a really simple, like, prayer request because everyone goes through it, but that doesn't make it any less of a prayer request that you need. I just really need, like, prayer on knowing how to not be alone, because I'll always have, like, the people here and I'm flying back all the time. But that, like, even when it feels like I'm physically alone, I'm not spiritually alone. And I think that, just remembering that God is always with me. And like I said, like, for the verse that I picked, his presence will go with me everywhere and he'll give me rest. And I think that just prayer that I'll be able to find rest in a time where everything feels go, go, go. And I have to figure everything out as I'm going because I don't know what anything's like down there. So I think, that's just what I need. Just prayer, knowing how to find rest in God and find new relationships.
I'm going to Azusa Pacific University next year, and I'm going to be majoring in communications. And I would say I could use prayer for a couple things. One, just peace, because as Laina said, like, we're going, to different states now, and that's a really scary feeling, not knowing the area or anyone around there. I'd be leaving my mom. That's sad. Like, I know, that's going to be really hard. But just peace for that. And also, I would just ask prayer for wisdom just for all the decisions I have to make down there, like who I invest time in for all my relationships, what classes I'm taking, like, just everything about it is so unknown, and that's really scary. So prayer for that would be good.
I'm going to GCU as well, down in Phoenix, right?
I didn't know that until yesterday.
I didn't know that until like 2 days ago, so I'm being honest. I might as well say it, but like, I applied to a lot of schools and, I got into a few, but nothing really felt right. And then I knew that a few people, like, I knew you and I think one other person from J. Crew are going to GCU, and I thought, I might as well apply, right? Yeah. And someone reached out to me, and I applied, and then I got in, and I was like, okay, well, now I have to make this decision. And then I procrastinated and, like, put it off for a few weeks, and then, I made the decision a few days ago. But yeah, how can you pray for me? Just making the adjustment because it's a new state, and I know, like, 2 people going there, so it's gonna be interesting to say the least. So to make that adjustment.
Well, I think you'll love it. Having lived in Phoenix for 10 years, I know exactly where the campus is. We've toured it, and it was incredible. So I can say to all 3 of you that it's going to be good. Well, I'm just going to say a little quick thing about the 3 of you. Like, you have been it's been phenomenal to see the changes of these little nuggets that came into our youth group. Some who are incredibly shy and quiet, who've just busted out and become so brave in speaking and athletics and art, and vocals. I mean, if you haven't heard these two do worship, you're missing out. I think they're doing it next week, right? So come back for possibly another round. But I could not be more proud of you guys, really. It's just been a gift and a pleasure to be your leader. And remember that Mama CJ is always here for you when you need someone, okay? And same with Kevin. We have always got an open phone and an empty Starbucks card, or a full Starbucks card, I should say. To take you out for coffee, so. All right, well, at this point, I'm gonna invite Kevin to pop up. No? Yeah. Yeah. Oh, never mind. Sit down, sorry. This is very, very youth groupish. Oh yeah, that's not what we're doing right now? Okay. We're gonna enjoy a video of our students from the ministry.